Welcome to video number 29, everybody, and thank you so much for watching GS Reptiles on YouTube. I'm your host, Gary Scavino, and for those of you who might remember me from back in the club days, I was the original Torquinator. Before we get into today's video, Tinley is coming up in a couple weeks, and I'm going to be there, and I'm really excited to meet everybody. If you see me there, please come on up and let's talk about emeralds, and we could talk about chondros, and if you want, we could even talk about carpondros. And at that point, though, I will assume, however, you did have some trauma as a child. So in today's video, we're going to do a complete 2021 room tour. We did one last year. A lot has changed since that room tour. I added a second room. I got a lot more cages. I sold off some projects. I got some new projects. So there was a lot going on, and I want to get you guys all caught up. In fact, on that note, I sold off some projects. All my granite spotted pythons. I sold all my Conica sand boas. It's not because I don't love them. It's just because I'm running out of room. And I'm running out of time. That's the other thing. That's a question I have for you guys. You can put in the comments for me is, I was up to about 120 something animals with babies and adults, and I do work a full-time job, and I'm down to the 90s. My goal is to get down to the 50s. I always say, my goal always is, or my mantra has always been, sometimes the less animals I have, the more animals I produce. So my question for you out there is, what's your breaking point with animals? How many can you really handle with having a full-time job? I don't know if the number is 50 or 60 for me. I'm telling you, I think it's 50 to 60 is where I do best. I know guys out there have 100 to 200. I don't know how you guys do it. I can't handle it. So let me know what your number is with a full-time job, how many animals you can handle. And in today's tour, we're not only going to get into animals, we're going to get into caging. I can only imagine how confusing it is for some of the newer herpers out there. When you're looking at caging, you're looking at racks, which ones to get. There's so many options, so I'm hoping today I can help you with those decisions on some caging today. And lastly, we're also going to rate animals on a scale of 1 to 3, in the sense of 1 being the least difficult to take care of, 2 moderate difficulty, and 3 most difficult. So we're going to rate some animals, hopefully help you make decisions on some of the animals you get as well. So why don't we just jump into today's tour. Honey, you know what? Should I show them why they used to call me the Torquinator really quickly?
No, honey, stop.
You were always embarrassed at my twerking. So welcome to my 2021 room tour. This is actually, if you follow my channel, this is my new room. And let's talk about caging first. These are all Boaphile 422D cages, okay? All the perches are made by David Brahms from Specialty Enclosure Designs. I will put links on the bottom of this video for David Brahms perches. I love David Brahms perches. You're going to see them all throughout my video. Again, 422D cages. These are all 48 inches by 24 inches deep by 18 inches high. I have from Amazon Basin emerald tree boas in here to carpet pythons, diamond pythons, to my sanzinia. Love the cages. Jeff Ronnie over at Boafile, I've been working with him for years. The only thing I'm warning about Jeff right now is he did hurt his shoulder. He has stopped production of his cages for a little bit. I think he's going to start production again later this year. I actually have one more rack of cages coming from him. So if you're looking for Boafile cages, you may have to hold off on a couple months. Hey, I thought a great place to start today would be with my Amazon Basin emerald tree boas. Truth be told is, I am a chondro fanatic. Chondros, my blood is green. As far as I'm concerned, my passion are chondros. And my chondro friends are not going to like me saying this, but if I had to pick just one pair of animals to keep in my entire collection, it would probably just be Amazon Basin emeralds. They're just like no other animal out there. I love them. They get pretty big, as you can see this female here. She's almost 7 feet at this point. Super sweet animals. You just go in there and lift her head like that. I wouldn't trust that with a chondro. She is 16 years old. I have a trio of adult Amazon Basin emerald tree boas. I am going to sell off my adult. This girl is sold. She's going to her new home in the next couple weeks. The reason I did that is because I lost my proven breeder male. She actually gave me 9 slugs earlier this year. I lost my proven breeder male, so my options are really to go out and try to get another proven breeder male or start over again with babies. And I'm probably going to start over with babies. I might put my other female out on breeding loan. I'm not sure yet. But in either event, any event, I love these animals, and as far as a difficulty rating, I would put an Amazon Basin emerald tree, 3 being the most difficult. I would put them as a 3, just because they are an arboreal. They have special humidity requirements, and they are a little far more challenging than, say, a more terrestrial animal, which we're going to get into shortly here. So this is Morelia Cheyenne. This is a pure jungle carpet python. I have a trio of these. These will be big enough to breed next year. This is one of the, as far as I'm concerned, one of the prettier ones I've personally seen. She came from my friend Adam Hoolander. I'm not sure, actually David Hastings produced her. And the thing about jungle carpets, if you get into them, is a lot of people show you pictures of them when they're about a year old, or they sell them when they're about a year old. As with most Morelia species, when they're about a year old is when they have their peak coloration. And then after that, a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them tend to get a little muddy along the dorsal area. The yellow turns to a little tannish or brownish. So ask to see the adults and make sure that the adults are really bright yellow. So again, I have a trio of these. These are pure jungle carpets. As far as the difficulty rating, with 1, 2, and 3, 3 being the most difficult, 1 being the least challenging, I would put these as a 1. Basic husbandry, hot spot of 84 to 86 degrees. They do really well. Babies start pretty readily. So again, I will put these as a difficulty level of a number 1, and just a great pet and a great animal. It's a diamond python. It's a pure diamond python. I bought this animal originally. It's a female. I bought originally as what they were calling a Gothenburg zoo stock from Sweden. I've come to find out since then that really line doesn't really exist. There are actually 4 recognized lines of diamond pythons here in the United States. Gary Val line, San Diego Zoo stock line, Riverbanks Zoo stock line, and Casey Lasik stock line. But here's the problem, guys, when you go to buy them. These lines have been in the United States for quite some time, and unless you go to like a diamond purist, somebody like Joshua Easter comes to mind, a lot of the lines have been intermingled. I mean, I could tell you what my lines are. I don't know how pure they are. I do trust the people I got them from. I mean, the key thing with diamond pythons is you want to make sure that they're at least pure diamond pythons. Even if the lines are a little bit mixed up, you want to make sure they're pure diamonds. There's no carpet python in them per se. So again, pure diamond pythons. I have a trio of these. There's also another phase of these called a stardust or reduced pattern line, which I'm going to show you guys in a minute. And again, I have a trio, and I would put these on a difficulty scale as far as keeping them. I put these at a 1. They're really easy to take care of. Breeding's a little bit more challenging because you have to get the males really cold in order to produce fertile sperm. I bring my animals down to about 50 degrees when I'm going to breed my diamond pythons. But super easy to take care of. Do diamond pythons benefit from UV lighting? Absolutely. Is UV lighting required for diamond pythons? It is not. So again, pure diamond python. I have a trio of these. I love them, and if you don't have them, I highly suggest you get some. Hey, so that was a normal diamond python, and I referenced the stardust diamond python or reduced pattern. That's what this is. This is a reduced pattern or stardust diamond. That is one and the same. So when you hear stardust or reduced pattern diamond, it's the same trait. Is this a recessive trait? Is this a codominant trait? Is this a dominant trait? We really don't know. You can breed a reduced pattern to a regular diamond and not produce any reduced pattern babies. So we're still trying to figure that out. I was having a conversation with Josh Easter about that, and we got to get into a little bit deeper conversation about it. But the reality is that we don't know what they are yet. We don't know if they're codominant, and we don't know if they're recessive. We're not really sure. Some variations of them are more extreme than others. Some are more reduced pattern than others. I'm going to show you guys a baby shortly as well. But anyway, that's a reduced pattern diamond. Obviously the same rating as a normal diamond python as far as a 1. It's really easy to take care of. And I love the reduced pattern diamond pythons. Yes, I know I'm not the biggest hybrid fan, and I bust on hybrids all the time, but hey, I'm also a hypocrite because I have a hybrid. This is a diamond jungle jaguar, gamma line jaguar, bred to a reduced pattern diamond python, and this is the result of that. God, this animal is phenomenal. She actually gave me 5 babies this year. I bred her to a reduced pattern diamond python. I'll show you her offspring a little bit later in this video. But again, it's basically a combination of a jungle carpet and a diamond python. As far as ease of care, it is a absolute 1. They're super easy to take care of, just like any carpet python. And what else can I tell you about these? Okay, so we hear about the gamma gene, or I shouldn't say gamma gene, I should say the jaguar gene. Also want to give credit, this is Martin Rosemond, who's, if you're looking for gamma line animals or even pure diamond pythons, Martin's just a great guy to deal with. I love his stuff. So we always hear about jaguars and the issue they have, the neuro stuff going on with the jaguars, and that's true. It can occur. I've been really fortunate. This line so far has not displayed any neuro type stuff going on with the with this jag blood, so I've been really fortunate, but it's not that uncommon. I'd say about, I don't know what percentage of it is, probably less than half of them actually display any type of neuro. This one does not, but in any event, again, 1, super easy to take care of. You see the jaguars, and just beautiful animals. So if you're familiar with my channel, you know a Sanzinia madagascariensis. This is the eastern phase, a green Sanzinia tree boa. I have 2.3 of these. As we know, they're really difficult to come by these days. In fact, I'm going to put a link to my video down below where I did a whole video just on Madagascar tree boas. Super easy to take care of, actually. I put them on a 1 to 3. Again, I'll put these at a 1. They do really well. They eat really well frozen thawed rodents. They take readily. I keep mine on cocoa bark just because I like to keep a little bit higher humidity level with them. They will have dry sheds if there's not enough humidity. Unlike the carpet pythons where you can keep them on newspaper, they just do really well on the cocoa chip. These guys get about 5 to 6 feet. They go through an onogenic color change. Babies are born like a terracotta red color. Absolutely love these animals. This is a little bit darker green animal, and you can see this one in here. She's a little bit more lighter green color on her. She's really pretty. So again, I have 2.3 of these, and these will be hopefully ready to breed in less than 2 years from now, and I'm really excited about that. And again, as far as the difficulty scale, guys, they are absolutely a 1. Super easy to take care of.
There you are, Hun. Honey. Hun, get up.
God, what time is it?
It doesn't matter. We're right in the middle of filming this video.
Honey, I feel like we've been filming this video for hours already. Can't you just finish it without me?
No, I cannot.
Like, I cannot believe you woke me. I was dreaming I was at Tinley and they were having a dance competition and I was dominating the twerk off. Okay, welcome back to Snake Room 1.0. This is my original snake room, and I've done all new enclosures in here. These are, let's talk about, the cages first, and then we're going to jump into racks shortly. But these are, again, all Boaphile 322D cages. These cages are 36 inches long, 24 inches deep, and they're 17.5 inches high. And again, I'm keeping chondros in here. I'm keeping Amazon basin emeralds in these enclosures. And I am also keeping northern emerald tree boas in these enclosures. And again, these are really meant to be terrestrial cages, but I basically asked Jeff over at Boafile to install radiant heat paddles for me, which they have their own brand of them, or they have their own. I'm not sure how Jeff gets them, but he uses his own somehow. And as far as I just add perches from David Brahms over at Specialty Enclosure Designs. And I love doing that because, again, just by adding David's perches, you can make any cage an arboreal cage. Let me just show you these perches really quickly, how they work. David made holders for them as well. Actually, let me take the one with the snake on it. That's a really pretty Maniquari green tree python. I produced that animal last year. So again, perches, Specialty Enclosure Designs. This is basically like a 1/2 inch perch. And the way I had these enclosures made was that the perches are all interchangeable, so I could use whether it's a 1/2 inch perch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, to up in a 1.5 inch perch. Basically they're all fitted for the same enclosure. So suddenly if an animal's getting bigger, I could just simply move the bigger animal with the bigger perch and I can use any of these enclosures. So I love doing it that way. So if I'm you though, and I want a taller cage, if I decide, you know what, I like those cages, Gary, but they're only 17.5 inches high. I want a 24 high inch enclosure for my Arboreal. I would absolutely go over to Focus Cubed Habitats with Stephen and Ashley Howdy. They're over in Texas. Make an amazing product. Their customer service is incredible, and there's just tons and tons of options. So why did I go with Boafile if Stephen and Ashley make such amazing cages? Well, it's because I've been working with Jeff for many years. I had a lot of Boafile cages already, and because I'm really anal, I love that everything matches. But for me, I went with the Boafiles, but if I'm choosing between cage companies, I'm going with either one of those. I don't think you can go wrong with either of those cage companies. So now that I showed you these enclosures, why don't we start pulling out some animals that are in these enclosures? Okay, so let's start with a green tree python. I'm working with a group of approximately 20 green tree pythons right now. All are pure Maniquari green tree pythons. So why did I choose this girl to pull her out to show you my green tree pythons? Because this girl drives me crazy every year. Last year, she bred for me. She did go off a feed, but she never had a pre-lay shed. And she gave me some beautiful babies last year. This year, she did breed a bunch of times. Nothing happened. She never went off of feed. She did not give me a pre-lay shed. And about 2 weeks ago, in the middle of a flood, when water was literally pouring into my basement, I looked in her enclosure, and what did I see? I saw 2 eggs that she had dropped from the perch. So she was gravid. She just never gave me any signs. So I currently have 6 perfect eggs incubating from her right now to a male, which I'll show you shortly. I'll pull him out for you guys. And the eggs look great. And she's in a deep shed right now. She's actually much prettier than this, and she's also getting her weight back on. The eggs are 25 days old today. And again, green tree pythons, I would rate them on a difficulty scale of 1 to 3. Absolutely, hands down, chondros, green tree pythons are a 3. Between humidity requirements and just general overall requirements, they're a tricky animal, guy. I'm telling you, guys, I'm constantly honing my skills with them, and I've been keeping them for over 20 years at this point. I love them. They are actually, my passion. I'm a big green tree python guy, but they are difficult. And for those who've been keeping them for a while, you guys already know that. But again, they are a 3, and let me show you another green tree python right now. This is the male that just bred with the female I just showed you guys. Again, a pure Maniquari. He was a red neonate. She was a red neonate, so all the babies because there's some super red blood going on in this bloodline. All the babies will be red, and I know that because last year all the babies were red. So yeah, traditional looking Manicouri type, the nice triangles along the dorsal area, and you know, there's so many different localities of chondros out there. There's a lot of designer types, but I only keep Morelia pulcher, which are Manicouri type chondros. I absolutely love them. Something about them from seeing them from a couple decades back. Just I fell in love with this locality. So anyway, let's move on now. Let's pull out some northern emerald tree boas. So I showed you an Amazon basin emerald tree boa earlier. This is a northern emerald tree boa. They get pretty large as well, guys. Not as big as an adult Amazon basin emerald, but northern emeralds get really big as well. I have two northern emerald tree boas in my collection. I do not have a male at this time. I don't see myself really picking up a male. I don't think so anyway. I think I'm probably going to put these out on breeding loan to my friend Keith McPeak at some point when they're big enough to breed. So again, I have two females. As far as the difficulty rating, because it's an arboreal, guys, I have to give it a 3 again, being the most difficult to keep. I'm not trying to intimidate any of you by saying, you know, by rating these arboreals constantly S3s, but because of humidity requirements, they are just simply more difficult to take care of. The husbandry is just a little bit more challenging. And you know, it's weird with arboreals because you can keep something like, I don't know, king snakes or carpet pythons. You can keep those animals for 30 years. And then when you get your first arboreal, whether it's a green tree python or an emerald tree boa, it's like a completely different hobby. The requirements are completely different, far more challenges. So I'm not trying to scare anybody. You're all capable, as long as you do the research on these, to be able to keep them. But they are challenging, and for that reason, I rate them a 3. Just to show you guys how old I actually am, I'm going to show you one of my really old racks. This rack's probably about 30 years old. The old wooden rack in here. It's got all the Flexwatt heat tape in the back, though. And this is where I keep a bunch of my baby carpet pythons. I'll just pull one out for you guys here. And the reason I really want to show that out, can you show that animal really good? That's a zebra. That's actually a zebra carpet crossed with a diamond python. That's a 50% pure diamond. This animal is actually going to its new home this week, but I have one more male left. But I really want to show you guys is the perches. These are 12 quart tubs. And these perches, again, by specialty enclosure design. David can make a perch for any tub, any cage you need. So I just want to show you the just the type and different styles of perches David can make. So now that we showed you that, the other thing I want to show you really quickly is, if you notice, there is a gap right here in my room. It's because I'm waiting for my buddy Jeff. As soon as his shoulder gets better over at Boafile Cages, I have one more rack of the 36 D cages, or what are they called? The 36-inch cages are coming from Boafile, so they're going to go right here, and that'll complete the room. There'll be a total of 20 of the 36-inch enclosures, which leads us to this ARS rack right here. This is a 7010 ARS rack. Man, I love these ARS racks. I cannot speak highly enough about them. I mean, the old style, you got to take the entire Rubbermaid out of the enclosure. You got to put it out on some kind of cart or table. And these are awesome because obviously they just slide right out. You guys are probably familiar with these at this time, but if you're looking for a rack for your ball pythons or whatever to raise up your carpet pythons, I love these. This is a female Pinto pastel pied. I only have one pair of ball pythons, and she gave me some really cool looking babies this year, but I really wanted to show you guys the ARS rack. And in this same rack, I also keep a bunch of Savu pythons. I have a group of, got about 10 Savu pythons right now. This is one of my silvers. What's really cool about doing these videos is I feel like I turned you guys on. Well, a lot of you older guys who's been doing this for a long time knew about these species, but when it came to like granite spotted pythons and Conica sand boas and green sanzinia and Savu pythons, I love being able to put the spotlight on animals that have been hidden for a while now because of the ball python craze took over. But it's a beautiful silver Savu female. She recently gave me 6 eggs, all which hatched. I'll show you guys the babies from her shortly. So this is a simple recessive trait, and I have 6 heterozygous for silver Savu babies, which I'll be making all those available. I do have a wait list right now, so if you want to be put on the wait list, you could let me know. As far as the difficulty rating with Savu pythons, I'm going to put these guys at a 2 as far as a difficulty rating. The reason being they're simple, really simple to take care of. But if you're a newer keeper, they are somewhat cage aggressive. You can't hesitate with them. I mean, as soon as you take them out, I have never been bitten, knock on wood, it's probably going to happen now. I've never been bitten by one of my Savu pythons because I don't hesitate. I just go right in and pick them up. But they are cage aggressive, so typically when you go in, if you hesitate, they will strike at you. But again, silver Savu python, I love these animals, and I have a group of about 10 to 12 of them, and it's just a great animal if you're considering getting a python that stays small. And what's cool is they go through an onogenic color change. So anytime a python stays small and goes through an onogenic color change, that is a snake I'm definitely interested in keeping. I thought it'd be worthwhile to talk about incubators too. There's a lot of questions about incubators all the time. These are nature spirit incubators. I have 2 of them. Currently have 6 chondro eggs hatching. I had literally 4 clutches of Savu pythons hatch in the last 10 days, so my incubators are pretty much finally empty right now. As far as Nature Spirit, I love them. I also use Helix Thermostats too. I've had this whole room runs on, both rooms run on Helix Thermostats. So again, Nature Spirit, I love them. The key thing about any incubator, I think, guys, is making sure that there's a visibility window. So the reason is that you do not have to open the door in order to see the eggs, because anytime you have to open up a door in order to get to your eggs, you're going to change the parameters of that incubator between heat and humidity every time you open that door. So I love the fact that I could just peek in and take a look and see exactly what's there. Moving over to this Cambro rack. This is where I keep my yearling Arboreals. There's a really pretty chondro in there right now. This animal's going to be moved into its new Boaphile cage as soon as they come in from Jeff. Perches, again, by David Brahms. I keep all my yearling green tree pythons and my emerald tree boas on a water substrate. It keeps really high humidity. They do really well in these boxes. This box, this entire rack was originally built by PVCcages.com. He no longer makes them, but know who does make them is Stephen and Ashley over at Focus Cubed Habitats. They actually make beautiful ones. So if you're looking for a Cambro box style rack like this, Stephen and Ashley can definitely help you with that. I think the next thing we're going to move over to is a C-Serpents neonate rack, baby rack, shoebox rack. I never had C-Serpents before because I have an old Boafile rack, which I'll show you shortly, but I love this rack, I really do. I'm a huge fan of the ARS racks, as I mentioned earlier, because the drawers just pull out. But the reason I like this rack is because I work with a lot of smaller species. You know, when I was breeding Conica sandboa babies, they're really small. And when you're breeding Savu pythons, they're really small. And Teresia species, and especially green tree pythons. I can keep baby green tree pythons in this rack. I cannot keep baby green tree pythons in an ARS hatchling rack. There's just no way to hold that humidity. They do really well in here. This is a little pastel pinto pied female that I produced this year. So these are great for baby ball pythons, and I also have a bunch of baby Savu pythons in here as well. I'll show you some baby Savu shortly. So again, that's the yearling rack with the Cambro boxes. We talked about incubators. We talked about these shoebox rack from C-Serpents and Chris. Again, I highly recommend. Working with Chris was great. He was super responsive. I love that too. And let's just jump over now to another ARS rack, a smaller one. My ARS 5040 rack. They call it the hybrid 5040 rack. Perfect rack for growing ball pythons. I keep my male Savu pythons in here as well. I also keep my some of my ball pythons in here, the ones that are starting to get bigger. Here's a really pretty, that's a pastel lavender possible het. This animal is available. It's on my website, gsreptiles.com. And I also keep my Savu pythons in here, my males. It's perfect for that. And this is a Savu python I actually produced last year. This is a silver. It's the only one I produced last year. So this is what a yearling silver Savu python looks like. And again, they're born a lighter silver, and they get all that black speckling, and they eventually turn get a lot more black. But just an amazing animal. So again, this is an ARS 5040 rack. I absolutely love it for small python species or just using it as a grow out rack. And again, I can't say enough nice things about ARS. And what reptile room would be complete without a sink area? And yes, my sink area is messy right now, but this is a functioning snake room. I take care of a lot of animals, so it doesn't always look as pretty as I would like it to. As you can see, I also breed mice here. There's 2.6 adults when I have babies. I always keep the mice production going with that when I leave live fuzzies and pinkies. And over here, last but not least, is my Boafile rack by Jeff Roney over at Boafile Caging. Unfortunately, these cages are no longer made. Jeff does not make this this rack any longer. He does make a baby rack, but not this one, and I love this rack. So that's why I had to find something different. I wound up going with the C-Serpent. So I want to show you guys some really cool babies worth showing right now. The first one I promised you earlier that when I showed you that jaguar, I told you in my other room, I showed you my jaguar that was gravid this year, and she was bred to a reduced pattern diamond. Well, that's one of the babies that hatched out. There were a total of 5. That was the only jaguar that hatched out, and this one is still not feeding. In fact, 5 babies hatched, and of the 5, only 1 is feeding. They've been a real pain in the butt, but I know I'll get them going. So I can't wait to see how this one colors up. So that's one baby I want to show you guys, and then I want to show you guys really quickly. I mentioned I had 1.2 diamond pythons. Well, that is one of the females that makes up my 1.2. That's a 2021 baby reduced pattern diamond python produced by my friend Martin Roseman. Martin only produced one this year. I was lucky enough to get it, so thank you so much, Martin, for sending that beautiful animal my way. And there's one more really cool baby I want to show you guys. I want to show you one of the normal baby savus. I would normally show you one of the silver baby savus, but they didn't shed yet and they're not looking their best, so I want to wait until after they shed to show you guys. But this is one of the just normal baby savus. So far I have 6 of those. All 6 have shed, and of the 6 that have shed, 5 have already taken a frozen thawed fuzzy mouse. So I just love that. Anytime a baby eats off the bat right away a frozen thawed fuzzy mouse, it just makes my life so much easier. So yeah, I total have 21 baby savu pythons. They're all going to be going after their new owners over the next few weeks. But if you're looking for some, let me know. Just reach out to me and I'll put your name on a waiting list, and there might be, depending if people fall out or not, I may have some available. So that takes care of this baby rack. Okay, I am exhausted. I'm sure you guys are exhausted as well. That was a long 2021 room tour, but I wanted to make sure I got everything in. And I'm sure if there's certain things I didn't mention, whether it be substrates or lighting or whatever you guys want to know about, be sure and comment on this video below, and I promise I will answer your question for you. Just thought I'd wrap up this tour with one of my green sanzinias. This is a, I'm going to put it down so my wife can focus better. That is a 2020 yearling green sanzinia, still coloring up. But again, that completes the 2020 room tour. I'm so glad you guys took the time to go over all my cages and my animals with me, and I am really excited again to see everybody in Tinley. And I will be back in another 2 weeks with a brand new video. So until I see everybody, have a great couple of weeks. Who has the best YouTube channel? Me